How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to We the Fandom. If you clicked on this video and you are new to the channel, I have a whole playlist covering X-Men 97, so feel free to check that out. Spoiler warning for those who have yet to see the season finale of X-Men 97, because this was a big one. Xavier tries to rehabilitate Magneto after assaulting his mind, while the X-Men fight Bastion to a standstill, only for humanity to turn on them, which threatens not only the X-Men but the Earth as a whole, and you'll never guess how it ends. So if you watched episode 9, you'd know that Magneto ripped the adamantium from Wolverine's bones. This causes Xavier to go into a state of rage and to seize control of Magneto's mind. However, once he's in there, he tries to take the peaceful route and takes Magneto back to one of their first meetings when they both worked at a hospital for Holocaust victims and had yet to reveal to each other that they were mutants. But Xavier's just using these memories to butter up Magneto before he takes full control of his mind in order to fix the Earth's magnetic poles. This saves the world, but it also allows Bastion to recontinue his genocide of mutant kind, and now humankind as well, as he has decided to give them a merciful death, leading to heroes from around the world having to fight off the Prime Sentinels. While Bastion has the X-Men in his clutches and is about to make an example of Cable against the protests of Sinister, the Phoenix, yes, the Phoenix is back, albeit temporarily. I told you guys this would happen. Jean, using the Phoenix power, briefly incapacitates Bastion and shuts down all Prime Sentinels, as well as taking Sinister's mutant abilities, rendering him a victim of his true age. Though in reality, that should mean he's dead, right? I mean, the character is over a century old. But Bastion isn't taken out for long, nor does Jean keep the Phoenix power, and as retaliation, Bastion takes Cable's arm and absorbs the techno-organic virus, taking on a form similar to a form he took during X-Men Second Coming. This all leads to a final stand against Bastion as he plans to use Asteroid M to destroy the Earth. So the X-Men on Asteroid M give it their all, but are struggling against Bastion until the X-Men team from Earth arrives, and they are on the cusp of victory when Cyclops demonstrates why he is the leader of the X-Men by offering Bastion a place with them, as it should have been if Bastion's mother had allowed him to become Xavier's student as a child. But that's when the Magneto protocols are thrown into effect, and rather than join the X-Men and be saved, Bastion throws himself into the explosion, and the X-Men are left to risk it all to stop the asteroid as it hurtles toward Earth. At the very last second, Xavier finally gets through to Magneto, and he wakes up to lift the asteroid and save the world. But because this is the X-Men, rather than a fairy tale ending, the X-Men get pulled through time. Now, Magneto, Xavier, Rogue, Nightcrawler, and Beast are transported to 3000 BC, where they meet a young Ensaba Nur, also known as Apocalypse, and witness the city of Chronopolis, the home of Kang the Conqueror, or at least a version of him. Scott and Jean, meanwhile, are transported to the year 3690, where they meet Clan Ascani, led by Mother Ascani, aka Rachel Summers, an alternate reality daughter of Scott and Jean, as well as a young Nathan Summers. However, the whereabouts of Storm, Morph, and Wolverine, who is currently incapacitated and still healing after having the adamantium ripped from his bones, is unknown. Back on Earth, Forge mourns the death of the X-Men, only for Bishop to tell him that the X-Men aren't dead, just scattered through time, and this begins their partnership much earlier than the previous iterations as they plan to work to find the X-Men. And finally, in a post-credit scene, Apocalypse arrives at the ruins of Genosha and picks up Gambit's playing card. Now, I'm going to make a separate video where I outline what I think Season 2 is going to consist of based on what we see in the finale. So this video is going to be a little shorter than the previous ones just because I'm not going to be theorizing as much. Now, in my last video of X-Men 97, I talked about the possibility of seeing the Onslaught saga. We're obviously not going to see that. We're not going to see Onslaught. We're not going to get the hero's return, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with where it ended and what we'll hopefully be getting as long as they stick with what Bo DeMaio had planned out. In my opinion, the finale was the best episode of the season, but there were still bad parts as well as the good parts. Mainly, I feel like they tossed the villains to the side. Sinister was taken out easily. However, they also left the possibility for him to return by not just killing him off. But I think Bastion deserved more character development and just more exposure in general. He had big dramatic moments in the past few episodes to be sure, but who he was as a character I didn't feel was very fleshed out. As to how they close some of the plot threads, I think Magneto's character arc was a circle. He seems to be back to where he was at the beginning of the season, where it seems like Xavier has maybe brought him back from the depths again, and he might be willing to maybe not join the X-Men again, but perhaps not take such an antagonizing role against humanity. Roberto da Costa has become a full-fledged member of the X-Men. Storm and Jean got to fight side by side as sisters once again, and the entire X-Men team reunited to save the world. But to me, the best moment by far was seeing Scott and Jean saying goodbye to Cable. Because seeing Scott struggle with fatherhood throughout the season and watching Cable slowly learn to accept Jean as his mother, as well as learning that Cable as a kid wanted nothing more than to be part of his parents' adventures, and then seeing that come true in a way now that Scott and Jean are with him in the future was awesome. I don't like this weird thing between Morph and Wolverine. Morph turned into Jean to tell Wolverine that he loved him, which is creepy on a number of levels. The last time that Morph turned into Jean was to taunt Wolverine because Morph was evil at the time. For as little as Morph appeared in the original series, it was obvious that he and Wolverine were good buddies. But in Disney's eyes, men can't just be close friends, at least one of them has to be gay for the other. Maybe Bo DeMaio had a crush on Wolverine as a kid and he's using Morph to play out fantasies with fictional characters. Either way, I hope that this isn't expanded upon in the next season. In fact, if Wolverine and Storm are trapped in a different time together, that opens up the possibility for a romance between the two characters, which would reflect an alternate future version of themselves. But Disney put together something good here. They just need to not F it up. I think that they push to the limits of how much wokeness you can put into this show and have people still enjoy it. I think that they earn back some of the trust lost due to the past 5 years of MCU and Disney Plus content that forced many longtime fans to ask themselves, why am I still watching? Just don't mess this up, Disney. This season was great. Keep it great. If you make Wolverine gay or make him confused about his sexuality because of Morph, I will instantly forget how good the season was. But I really was impressed by how much this felt like the original series. It did take a few episodes to get there, but they found their stride. And once again, I have to compliment the writers on doing fan service right. This episode alone had the most cameos, and none of it took away from the story. You saw Silver Samurai, Captain America, Iron Man, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, King T'Chaka, Cloak and Dagger, Omega Red, Crimson Dynamo, Darkstar, members of Alpha Flight, Psylocke, Peter Parker, MJ, and even Flash Thompson. They brought the characters in a way that felt organic and that showed you the stakes of what Bastion's attack was having on the entire world. I'm really excited for season 2, not just because of the potential cameos, but the story threads that they seeded at the end are genuinely interesting. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this season of X-Men 97 in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed my breakdown and review of Tolerance's Extinction Part 3, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on my theory video on Season 2. Thanks for watching.